Hey guys, I am behind the camera today. Today I want to work on a brush, maybe declutter, but definitely a rehaul. In this video, I'm going to go through all of the brushes that I hauled with you guys, including taking out all the brushes, as you can see here, that need to be cleaned. We'll do some cleaning, a little maintenance of the brush collection. I also want to do some separation of these two right here, so I did purchase another makeup brush holder. I do have some backup makeup brushes over here that are clean that I want to swap out for some of these brushes that need to be cleaned. I have a ton of brushes already set aside, including sponges that need to be washed. I thought it would be fun to do this video with you guys, just to sit down and do just a little dive into brushes. I have a lot of fun doing this, so that's why I wanted to film it. Let's just hop right into it. Okay, I think I want to start with pulling out all of the brushes that I hauled. I did do a haul with Sigma, and then I placed an Amazon order for a ton of brushes. One of the things is using brushes for the last 3 years. When I was first building my collection, I was basically buying every brush that was inexpensive and trying to figure out what style I liked for different applications, and now I feel like I understand what I like for what. So I did do a declutter of my brushes, some, I want to say a couple months ago, and I did film that in my vanity makeover, but I feel like I get these dirty so quickly and I don't have enough here to really replace them when they get dirty and I need to clean them, because I don't get to clean them as often as I would like. It is quite an endeavor. If you've cleaned brushes, you know, if you take a bunch at a time, it could take a couple of hours. So I thought we would at least get it started now. I may do the brush cleaning filming with you guys on a separate day. So let's go over the brushes that I hauled first and start taking them out and putting them in this basket over here. Of course, purchasing these online, I hope these are what I'm hoping for once I unbox these. So this one is from Real Perfection. It's the 3 pieces foundation makeup tool, so it comes with a sponge. This I do not want, so I'm not going to keep this, but I do like this. There is one from e.l.f. that is a complexion brush that is also very similar to this, so for foundation and concealer, and I have been using foundation brushes a ton more recently, so I feel like this would be a decent brush, and I could always use more sponges. So I'm actually going to take this one and put it in my declutter pile and see if my sister wants this, because I will not use that. But let's take this out. This actually feels really nice, and I like when it has like a flat side like this, but this one doesn't feel super cheap, so I'll put that in the drawer. This next one is from EcoTools. I do really like EcoTools brushes, and I got this one really for bronzer. I think this would be a really good sweeping bronzer brush. It's a precision brush, and I think it was meant for blush, but I think I could really use this as a powder bronzer brush because it's kind of pinched. And I like that it's pinched like this, so I can run a really kind of like precise application. I don't think I would use this for blush. I prefer a different shape for blush, and I'll show you guys, but I think this one will be good for bronzer. And then this one, it looks like it's from Ann Moore. Again, just an Amazon purchase, so some of these were, you know, brands that I've never heard of before. So it looks like this came in a set. So one is the tapered face brush and one is a face contour brush. I don't know what I'll use them for. Oh yes, I do. So this is a perfect contour brush. My favorite bronzer slash contour brush is the one from Sephora. It's the 93 from the Pro series. And I wanted to kind of replicate that because I don't have anything else quite like this brush and I really enjoy it. So I'm constantly getting it dirty. This will be perfect, and it feels, oh, it feels extremely soft. So this actually seems like a really good brush for what I would use it for, what I need. And then because it came with the set, I am not as much of a fan. These are so soft though. I'm not as much of a fan of these kind of brushes, simply because this is kind of like a powder brush, almost like under the eyes. Oh, but it's very soft. I think I'll hold on to it just to kind of have like one like this. I have another one from e.l.f. that's also like this, but I would not use this one for blush. And then I purchased some from e.l.f. because I do really like some of their brushes, not all of them, but some of them. This one is the Flawless Face Visage Perfection. Okay, it says Flawless Face, so you can really just use this for anything, but I'm certain that I got this for blush because this is kind of like the shape of blush that I like. Like a lot of these for blush are like very similar. I would say it's similar to the contour one from Sephora, but maybe even some are just kind of bigger. And I think this would be good for a powder blush brush. And the next one that I got from e.l.f. was the angled blush brush. This is definitely one that I would use for blush. I showed you guys the other two that I love angled brushes for blush. I don't know about this one. It's soft. I actually think this will be pretty good. I do like the way that this feels. So I'm excited about those. I guess I got one more from e.l.f. This is another angled blush brush. So that's good because I try a ton of new blushes and I dirty my blush brushes so fast. It's literally like what I have most to clean here. So I tried to target blush brushes very specifically. And then I got another one from EcoTools. It's the Plush Powder Brush. And I kind of feel like I got this with like sculpting or bronzer in mind. Yeah, this would oh my gosh, this is so soft. This would definitely be a powder bronzer brush. I really enjoy this kind of shape for really just sweeping across the cheek. So I love that I picked that up. I have another one from Amazon, which it does not have the brand name. I don't know here. You're always taking a risk when you're buying Amazon brushes. Oh goodness gracious, this looks like a great cream blush brush for me. It's totally unmarked, there's nothing on here, but it's extremely soft, but it has a little bit of density to it, and I love brushes like this to apply cream blushes to the cheeks. So I honestly think this is going to be a really good addition, even though it's kind of a no brand brush. And then I got one from Lamora, which is a very obvious kind of knockoff for the IT Cosmetics foundation heart brush, which I have the star, but I do not have the heart. I think the star is probably at the bottom of this container over here. It is clean, so I can swap it out. Yeah, very, very obvious kind of knockoff of the IT Cosmetics brush, but it feels really soft, and this is precisely what I would use for a foundation brush. It's not exactly a heart shape, is it? Like, they didn't really pinch this quite enough, but I love the way this feels. And because I've been so into foundation brushes lately, and I only have a couple that I really like for foundation or your complexion products, my favorite one right now being the Tarte one that came with the Maracuja Juicy Glow foundation. It's my favorite, but you know, I don't like using different foundations with the same brush. Sometimes I feel like, you know, because so much residual product gets left, it messes with the formula when I'm testing them. So I want to have a few more foundation complexion brushes that I really like. Wow, it feels really soft. Like, it's honestly, I don't know if I'll be able to tell the difference between like it and the IT Cosmetics. The last one that I have is a set. I also got this on Amazon. I don't know what the brand is. Again, maybe kind of an off-brand. Now this one I think is a stretch for me. While they're pretty, sometimes when they come in sets like this, there are brushes that, you know, I end up liking, but then a bunch that I maybe don't end up liking. So let's look at these. They're very pretty. Like, they're definitely nice to look at. They're also very soft. So they're tapered nicely. They're not pokey. The quality might not be so great, but I think this would be great for blush. So I'm actually excited for that one. All of these are eye brushes. Let's pull these out. I feel like I would definitely have a use for this one for like a shimmer shade. So we'll pull that out. I definitely would have a use for this on the lower lash line. You know what? This one would be a good shimmer shade brush as well. It's much bigger and it's still like dense, but it's bigger than this one, which is, I don't know, it's cut kind of funny, but I could see a use both of those. And then this one is definitely I don't know, this could be like a crease brush or an all over kind of shading brush for me. And then, this one is the, I don't know about. Because it's so pinched, I don't know if this is really something that I would use. I could see this being like a crease brush, but I don't know if I would use it as a packer brush. I would definitely try to use it as a packer brush. Not bad. This may be the only one that I just wouldn't find a use with in the eye brushes. Oh, this one, good contour brush. Definitely contour, maybe not bronzer, but because it's a little bit stiffer, like it's packed a little bit tighter. So I could see this being really good for like a cream contour. So I'm actually excited about that one. Oh, I missed an eye brush. This is kind of just like a, you know, like a detail brush for the lower lash line. And I have a ton of these. I would keep the set. Like I would use this. It's just that I don't use it very often. So I have so many already, but I will keep it. But back to this one, I don't know. This one for me is not necessarily a shape that I like because it's so thin and kind of dense. I would try this for like a cream blush. I don't know. This one I'll have to test out. This doesn't immediately look like a brush that I would use. Same for this. This is kind of a denser, more targeted stippling brush. And for me, I have a couple, but I don't always find myself using them. If I do, it would be for another cream or liquid blush product. So I'll have to test this one out. I did do a declutter for a lot of these like smaller, kind of denser stippling brushes, and I feel like I got rid of some that were kind of in that style. Okay, that's it for the kind of haul. Well, I will pull this out now. This is something I picked up on Amazon. It's just a makeup brush holder, but it should match even though it's not the same color to the other three that I have up here. I keep two full of brushes and then one is my lip liners. And this one is in gold, so it's actually pretty nice. I have two silver ones and one rose gold, but I want to break up these brushes between like eye brushes and face brushes. So maybe blush and like contour brushes in one, foundation brushes and then eye brushes in another, or foundation slash powder concealer, anything complexion, and then you kind of get the rest. But it's just kind of chaos for me. I'm always searching, and honestly sometimes like my favorite brushes that I always reach for kind of get buried in here. I know that seems silly, but when I'm filming, I kind of hope for, you know, the brushes that I'm looking for to just be a little bit more accessible. It just makes sense to kind of organize them. And then all of these brushes over here are all of the ones that I use for my personal use when I'm getting ready every day. And they consist of like face brushes, eye brushes, and then this last one is kind of like highlighters over here and all the detailing eye brushes. It just kind of seemed to make sense. And I put these in the very back because these I reach for a lot less than I do any other brush. I don't know if I'm going to declutter anything because I feel pretty good about it because I recently just did a brush declutter, but I definitely want to pull out the stuff that needs to be cleaned. So because I have absolutely used this for a contour and bronze so much, it is time. It needs to be cleaned. I told you guys my favorite foundation brush from Tarte, it needs to be cleaned as well. I have used it with multiple foundations, and yeah, I don't like to use it with like more than 2 foundations at a time. This one is an IT Cosmetics. I believe this is a foundation brush. Yeah, blurring foundation brush, but I've been using it for blush so often, so it should be cleaned. I feel like I used this one. It's another one from Sephora, but it's not the Pro Series. This is the angled foundation brush, but I use this for blush. I really like packing on like a cream compact blush with this, so I don't think I need to clean it. I'm gonna keep it here. This one from e.l.f. was the small tapered one that I said I use like for powder under the eyes. I don't often use it, but sometimes I do, and I do like to keep it for that. This one I held onto as a blush brush for powder. It's also from e.l.f. I think it's okay. Like, it's pretty soft. I've held onto it because I preferred it more than some of the other e.l.f. brushes, but I don't think it needs to be cleaned. This one from BH Cosmetics is just a number 3. Again, was using it for like stippling in a much denser way. Cream and liquid blush, but it needs to be cleaned. And then I feel like I used this with one blush. I don't think I've used it that much. It's from Rude Cosmetics. It's their foundation brush, but I was testing it because I had only used it one time, but in my last brush declutter I was kind of testing it for blush application. I could potentially use this as a foundation brush, so I think I'll clean it and try it as a foundation brush. And then the final one is another one from BH Cosmetics. It's number 2 brush, whatever that is. This definitely needs to be cleaned, but yeah, I would use this as a blush brush, so we will clean that. And then this one from ELF is the Putty Bronzer brush. I could see this, like I have the bronzer, but I've put it in my closet as reference items. I feel like I can put this up. I don't think I need to have this here because I just don't necessarily find a use for this other than getting into the actual product itself. So I would hold on to it for that reason. I'm going to give this a cleaning because I can see that I have used it, and then I'm going to put it back up into my like extras once we're done. And then I definitely have a brush to swap out with this one. This is the Angie Hot and Flashy A506 from BK Beauty. I have been using this as a concealer brush, so it's definitely time to give it a good scrub. Now for all of my eye brushes, it seems like most of them really do need to be cleaned. This one's a highlighter one. Yeah, a lot of these need to be cleaned. They haven't been in a while. I just took out 3 that I don't think need to be cleaned, but my BK Beauty brushes, they all are pretty dirty at this point. I feel like I have some more in there as well. I use these pretty frequently. I use this one, the 206 brush, as a packer brush in the outer corner. I use the 201 brush from BK Beauty, really kind of like sweeping, like as an all over brush at the top of my eye. I definitely really like this one, but yeah, needs to be cleaned. Then I have Suzanne Johnson brushes. I also really like these. Like I think they're really good quality. This is the SE203, but you can tell I've like used green shadow with it. It's time to get cleaned. This ColourPop E13 brush I use as a packer brush. I clearly use this for a really deep shade a couple of times. This ColourPop E3 brush I use as a shimmer shade all of the time, so it needs to be cleaned. And then I've used some like pretty distinct colored shadows on these brushes that I use to apply shadow to my lower lash line, so I would really like to clean them. Again, this is the Suzanne Johnson. I feel like I said the wrong name, like Suzanne Jackson. And then this one is the Rude Cosmetics pencil brush. So both of these need to be cleaned. Another Rude Cosmetics. I use this as a packer brush. And then, you know what? I don't like this one as much, but I can tell that I've used it as an all-over brush. It's again the Suzanne Jackson SE201. Here are, what is this one? This is another Suzanne Jackson. I have used this as a packer brush and I do like it. And then these two are my refer brushes, the 27 and the 16. I love these for either in the crease or all over. Like they're good for both, but they're also dirty. The only ones that aren't are my Rare Beauty highlighting brush. Highlighter is kind of highlighter. I don't clean these brushes as often, so I will put that in there. Then I have one from BH Cosmetics. It's the diffuse brush. I don't know if it has like a number. It doesn't, but I would use this as an all-over brush. And then my Spectrum C06 brush I use for packing in the outer corner so much. This one looks a little dirty because I did just use this for a deepening shade, but it's fine. I also purchased another switch. Oh, and I forgot the Sigma brushes. So I will go and grab those right now before we get any further. Okay, I just went and grabbed the box that I hauled from Sigma. So this is the Powder Sculpt brush, the F44. This I would definitely use for sculpting. Man, these are so soft. These are soft. Sigma was having a sale. I think I got these for like $10 and $15, so they were half off. They were about 50% off. But this is a great, super soft powder sculpting brush for, I don't know, you could either use this for a powder contour or a powder bronzer, so I really like that. Then I picked up the Soft Angle Contour Brush. Ooh, I love this for bronzer. This is the F23 brush. This is really, really angled, but it's really nice for a bronzer. Again, really, really soft. And I don't have a lot of Sigma brushes. In fact, I don't think I have any Sigma brushes. I think this was my first Sigma brush purchase. So I'm excited to definitely give these a shot. This is kind of similar to the Sephora one that I really like for just sculpting or bronzing even. So excited about that. Looks like they threw in a free kind of crease brush. It's called the Small Tapered Blending. Okay, it's a little bit dense for me, a little bit dense for my crease. I feel like this would create a patchy shadow. Just the way that it feels, it just feels like it kind of skips across my lid because my lids are hooded, and not only that, but there's like extra skin on my eyes. That's just the way it is. So I feel like this wouldn't necessarily be useful for me. So I'm actually gonna pass this along to my sister and see if she wants it, because I don't see myself using this. Then the next one that I have is the Sigma F29. This is the HD bronze brush. This is definitely a nice bronzing brush. Very sweeping. I feel like this would give me a really good application, so I'm excited about that. And there's just one final brush in here. This is the large angled contour brush F40. So you can see I was going for a lot of contour brushes because I feel like I was using that Sephora one and then like nothing else. Just I had very few angled contour brushes. I was grabbing for the same one over and over again. Yeah, this one reminds me a lot of the one from Sephora. Like smaller, but still very similar. And this is very soft, like softer than the Sephora one. It's maybe not my absolute favorite, but I'm sure that I could find some enjoyment out of it. So I'm excited about that one. Okay, so back to these other brushes. So far, all we have is these 3 eye brushes that we kept that don't need to be cleaned. So let's go through this one. I don't need to clean that one, so I'll put that with the eye brush brushes. This one I use for blush, clearly, and it needs to be cleaned, but it's an EcoTools angled powder brush. And honestly, I love it for blush all over the cheeks, both cream, liquid, powder. It's just like the perfect density, but let's clean it. This one from Rare Beauty is the Soft Pinch Blush Brush. I enjoy this brush a lot, but it also is dirty. I was using this Rude Cosmetics powder brush for sweeping bronzer all over. Do I love this for bronzer? Yeah, I think I do. I think I really do like this. I have one concealer brush from Rare Beauty. I feel like this needs to be cleaned though. You know what? I'm gonna keep this one out and I'm gonna put this, and not in concealer, I'm gonna put this in the eye brush one because I actually like this for priming my eyes. I really do like using this for eyeshadow primer. I know that might be a little bit weird, but that's how I like to use it. Here is the e.l.f. Complexion Duo. It clearly looks like I've picked it up for, I don't know, some sort of blush or bronzer, even though I have used this many times for complexion, for foundation. And I think this is really good for kind of anything. I really enjoy this kind of like style. I think it's just super universal, and I have used this for concealer many times. It kind of looks like I maybe used it for something else. I don't know. Let's just wash it. This is an eye brush. It's the Fluffy Blending Brush from BH Cosmetics. I don't think it needs to be cleaned, so I'll just put it over here. Who knows though? This is a ColourPop F4 brush. You know, this is a stippling brush, and it's like, you can tell it's made for blush. I don't know if I like it. I think it's a little bit too dense and too small for me. I think I'm gonna clean this and pass this one along. I don't really care for it. This is another one that's an eye brush that I feel like I maybe was using as a packer brush in the outer corner, but it needs to be cleaned. It was from a collection from Eloise. I kept this silicone brush for the eyes for like shimmer. I don't know that I find that it replicates your finger very well, but this is a Rude Cosmetics brow and liner brush with a spoolie, so I'll put it with the eyes. I have the blend brush from BH Cosmetics. I feel like it needs to be washed. I have this one, the Mentos collection. It's the concealer buffing brush. I know this is not a style I would normally use. I actually do think that it would be good for concealer. So I'm gonna keep it out and we'll put it with the face brushes. This is a Morphe brush. This is one of the only Morphe brushes that I kept because I had other ones for my declutter, but this one, whatever number this is, because it's unmarked, It's so good for cream blush, powder blush, any kind of blush. Honestly, it's one of my favorite blush brushes. I definitely think that I should give it a wash because I feel like I have definitely used it a lot lately. This is a powder brush from Rare Beauty. I will keep it out, but I haven't used it for powder. I mean, I have before, just not recently. Then I was using this one from Lamora. Oh, I have purchased brushes from Lamora from Amazon before. I feel like I was using this for blush as well, but I also like this as a foundation brush just because it's a kabuki brush. But I often find myself running out of blush brushes, and it's the reason that I pick up these flat kabuki brushes that I would otherwise use for foundation, because I just don't have enough. So I'm gonna wash it. And then I have the foundation brush from Rare Beauty, and I just don't think that it's dirty, so I'm gonna keep it out. Then I have one last eye brush from Beauty Bay 201 brush, and I do really like this for an all over, but it's obviously dirty. So because these are complexion brushes, powder, base for foundation, and concealer, I'm going to put these in this one here. And then we have this one free so that I can put the blushes, bronzers, things that I would use of that nature. And even, where did the highlighting brush go? I'm gonna move the highlighting brush there as well. So because I use this for blush, I will keep it here. This is an under the eye powder brush, so I will move it over there with complexion. And then this one I use for blush. Now we are moving on into the brushes that I keep for my personal, like getting ready every day use. And I don't see a ton in here that need to be cleaned or gotten rid of. Maybe this one right here where I used clearly a green shade and a deeper shade here. So I will take both of these, which I would use both of these as like detailing brushes. I just don't use them that often. They're good. I just feel like I don't need that many in my collection, and I feel like I keep more than I really need. The only thing is like having one when you really need it, because if you like this one from Refer, it's the 26. When you use a deep shade, it's basically like, you know, you don't want to go back with a yellow or something like that. So I'm going to wash this one, but yeah, I just don't reach for them that often. I have three here that I use for highlighting. This is the fan brush from Real Techniques. I don't think this is meant for highlighting. This is a setting brush, so it's kind of for under the eyes, but I really like it as a highlighting brush. And then I have the ColourPop highlighting brush, the F33. So I think these are probably good. I do not need to clean any of them. I feel like that's fine. So we can move on into the eye brushes. Actually, before I do, I would like to take these ones from the set that I got on Amazon, and I think I'm gonna incorporate all of these here in the eye brush set. And then I think a lot of these need to be cleaned, unfortunately. This was like one that I used for shimmer. This is the BH Cosmetics Packer brush. Yeah, it needs to be cleaned for sure. This one from EcoTools, it is the micro blending brush, and I actually use this for concealer quite a bit. It also needs to be cleaned, and I feel like I have one in this container, like over here to the right, that has one in it so that I can swap this out. I feel like these are all shimmer brushes with the exception of that one. And I don't know, I feel like I have not used a lot of these recently, like maybe this one. I mean, they all look a little bit shimmery, but none of them look like they need to be cleaned. And I'm already getting a million brushes that need to be cleaned. Here are all of my like blending brushes. Actually, I've clearly mixed some of my blending brushes up. I think that's kind of it for the blending. This one just, I guess maybe I didn't want to break up the set. This is the Spectrum A13 brush. It's kind of a packer brush. I'll move it over here. This is also a packer brush for me. Packer brush, packer brush. So I feel like these are all my blending brushes. This is a variety of different brushes. I have a ColourPop one. I have one from Rude Cosmetics. I have one from Morphe, which is not my favorite, but I have held on to it. I have one from Lunar Beauty, which is the LBE1. This is clearly in the wrong spot. That is a shimmer one. Another one from Morphe. I enjoy this one actually quite a bit. I have one from Refer, which is the 15. This one actually, look at, oh my gosh, it's like stuff is coming off. That needs to be cleaned. The one from Rude Cosmetics needs to be cleaned. I feel like this one here needs to be cleaned. Like I can definitely see some pink shadow. This is the M200 from Morphe, so we'll clean that one. Both of these look like they need to be cleaned. Oh, this is a tapered blending brush from Sigma. This was easily one that came inside of a palette. And then I have a BK Beauty 202 brush, which I love for in the crease. So we'll clean all of those. All of these will stay, and honestly, for the time being, that's about all I would need to like do my whole eyeshadow look. Then these ones are all of my packer brushes. I love packing in the outer corner. I can see this one from BH Cosmetics, the 6 brush, is perfectly clean. These two from Real Techniques, they are like concealer brushes. Well, deluxe crease brush, actually, both of them. I do not use that. I use them for packing, like just big solid swoop eyeshadow packing in the outer corner, but they need to be washed. I'll keep the Spectrum one, but I will wash the ColourPop one. This one is a Lunar Beauty. We'll wash it. I'm trying to not wash as many now that I'm getting this huge stack. The Spectrum A08 I will keep. The BH shader brush I will keep. I will keep this one as well. This one is the Lavish. It came in a set as well. Not dirty. I will wash this one from Louise, and then I'll keep this one out, the Spectrum A07. And that is pretty good. Wow, I am making the huge pile of brushes to clean. I already had a huge pile too, so now this one has got me plagued because I feel like I'm gonna end up taking all of these brushes out to clean. So this is an IT Cosmetics brush for foundation. It's, again, because it's kind of like the kabuki style brush, I feel like it's also good for blush, and that's why I end up reaching for it, because I just didn't have enough blush brushes, but it needs to be cleaned. This is a Brushworks brush that I love for powder blush. Cleaned. Huh, what did I use this one for? Buffing foundation brush from e.l.f. I clearly use this for something, but it's either blush or bronzer. I feel like it's only good for foundation or blush. I wouldn't use this for bronzer. I don't really like this for bronzer, but I will clean it. I actually don't mind this one from Wet n Wild. See how like fanned out it is, and it's not super stiff. I really enjoy this for a compact cream blush, so I have held on to this, and I think it needs to be cleaned though. This one, this is a makeup buffer brush from Essence. I feel like, again, just a flat compact blush brush, but we'll clean it. Oh, this is again one of those Morphe brushes that I absolutely love for blush. I don't think this is super dirty. I feel like I buried it. Okay, this one, I just don't know. Do I need it? It's not as like big, and I prefer, like if I'm gonna use a blush brush that's more like a kabuki style, I kind of want it to be bigger. I don't know. Maybe I have small cheeks. Maybe this is fine. So I'll wash it as well. This is an IT Cosmetics blush brush. It needs to be cleaned as well. I have held onto this one. I don't know. I got this on Amazon. I like this a lot for bronzer, but I've clearly like defiled it, so yeah. And then I was using this one a lot, the Japanesque, for the Makeup by Mario cream bronzer, but it needs to be cleaned. This one from Flower Beauty I really do like as a blush brush, but I haven't even used it since I cleaned it. Okay, so my camera battery died. I really apologize. So this one here was the one for blushes and bronzers, and this is the one that I really need to really stack, because I go through the blush and bronzer ones so frequently, and I dirty them so quickly. So I've been trying to fill it up as much as I can with some of the new brushes. So I pulled out a bunch of the new ones from Sigma and Amazon, and I've been putting them in here. I also had a ton of brushes that were in my drawer to my right, and I have replenished all of the different brushes that I feel like I would need for my eyes. I do create so many different eye looks, so I've pulled out a ton of like these IT Cosmetic brushes, the BK Beauty brushes, some here from Spectrum. I have a couple that are the 105 brushes from IT Cosmetics that I really like for blending. So I've tried to give myself a good variety of like blending and then like packing brushes, just random outer corner packing brushes. So I actually had a ton of extra spare brushes that were in my drawer. And then I pulled out some more for complexion. I pulled out these two. One of these, I showed you guys the L'Amour that I hauled. And then I had an IT Cosmetics one that I've definitely used for blush, but it is clean because it came out of my clean drawer. And then this one from e.l.f., the Sculpting Face Brush. I love this for concealer. So I replenished my concealer brush that I had in there. So right now I have two of the like concealer brushes that I would normally use. And I think that's good for complexion. So right now I'm just trying to finish up anything else that I would grab for blush or bronzer. And I'm just trying to pack it so full because my goodness, you guys, I go through blush and bronzer brushes like crazy. Is this another e.l.f. one? Yeah, I'll throw this in here as well. One more. This is one of my favorite blush brushes from IT Cosmetics. Yeah, the Flawless Brush Blush. Oh my gosh, that is so hard to say. Blush brush. Yeah, okay. The number 227, and I think that's good for now. I don't think I can get any more in here. And I have one highlighting brush just shoved in there. So that makes me feel so much better. This one that was unnamed, it's like really, I don't know about the quality on this one. We'll see. It seems very soft. But these are the brushes that I have for backups. The only extra clean ones that I've got right now if I need to replace them because I've got to go and clean these. And honestly, they take like days to dry. So I think this is good. Let me show you guys where I'm going to set these. Okay, I am holding the camera now. Here's where I keep all my extra sponges, the powder puffs, the eye brushes that I was telling you guys about that I keep like spares of. And then these are the, like this is where I have slotted for all of my extra brushes that are clean. They're just overflow. So I want to throw these in here. Okay, I think that looks good. Oh, no, I'm not. I missed one. These are my overflow. I think that's good. Okay, this is not the cleanest thing ever, I realize. But this is where I do my filming. Like this needs to totally be cleaned. But this is where I want to set all of my brushes that I just put in these containers. Okay, I think that's it. I don't want to show you the rest of this table because it needs to be cleaned. But here's all the eye brushes, the bronzer, blush brushes, and then complexion. Okay, so I'm a little embarrassed, but here are the other brushes and sponges that I had to clean. These sponges look wasted. Honestly, they're really bad. But these are all the ones that I had already kind of dirtied and like set aside for cleaning. So I don't know, I kind of feel like I was gonna try and separate them by brushes and sponges, but this whole pile over here is like dedicated for cleaning. So I'm gonna set this one over here, and I'm really just gonna throw all of these in here. Okay, this is absolutely ridiculous. Just ridiculous. I've never had this many brushes to clean at once. I feel like this is definitely gonna take me like an hour and a half to clean these. I definitely want to do some cleaning with you guys. Have any interest to you? I just thought it would kind of be fun to do it on camera. So I think I'll take some of them and then show you how I clean them, both sponges and brushes. That'll kind of be the end of it. But I also hauled something else. I have one of these quick color removers. I just got it from Amazon, but honestly I have like worn down the center. It's so dirty, and I know that you can wash these, but I haven't, and I needed more than one because I move this between this vanity and my filming table all the time. So I did pick up two more from Amazon. They're just in the brand Lee Shine, which I don't know what that is really, but they work for me. I feel like they're fine. I thought about getting a switch from Sigma, but I do enjoy these. I just want to keep one over here. Oh, this has an interesting like center core. Okay, what does it say about that? Dry use sponge. Okay, so it has like the switch on the outside and like a sponge right here. So I want to keep one over here to use when I'm like doing my makeup every day, and then one of them over on my filming tables, because I'm always like, where is it? I'll sit down to do my makeup. Oh, this one doesn't have that. And I like will start to do my eyeshadow and then forget that I have it over on my filming table. I know that's a little bit silly, but I'm gonna get rid of the other one. I'm gonna put this one over on my desk. Okay, and that is it. The final thing to do is to get these brushes washed. So I guess we'll jump right into it. Hey guys, welcome to many days in the future. So we are upstairs in my bathroom. There's probably an echo, which sounds terrible. I'm so sorry. But I thought we would do the brush cleaning now. So I have all my brushes here. I have put my towel down. I always put a big towel down. And then I've actually filled the sink with hot water, and then I have my Dawn dish soap here. I usually use Dawn dish soap to clean all of my brushes. Either that or I will use my son's like shampoo, because he still uses like the, you know, fragrance free, no additives, no additional anything in his stuff, and it's like tear free. So I usually feel really good about washing my brushes in it, and I usually get it in bulk. So I have everything here. What I usually do is once I'm done cleaning them, I'll lay them out here. I know it's kind of like, you know, I didn't get like the perfect height, but I think you can kind of see. I was trying to get mostly the sink in frame. All right, I actually just lowered the camera just a little bit. So I have all the brushes here. I usually take out like the eye brushes first because they're the easiest to wash and I get them done. But I do like to soak the sponges while I'm going. And then just dump them in the sink. My sink is about half full with hot water and Dawn dish soap. So because these are like really the easiest to clean, I kind of just like do them really fast by hand with whatever soap is in the sink, and then I rinse them. Mind you guys, this is not like eco-friendly. We do use quite a bit of water in this process. I don't know how you guys clean your brushes, but this is how I have been doing them. I would love to hear how you guys clean your brushes and save on the consumption of water. I'm actually gonna bring one of these bins back, and this is what I'm gonna do. I'm going to kind of put Dawn dish soap in my hand, like about this much, and then I'm gonna take these brushes and just run them in my hand like this. And then once I feel that they're clean, I'm gonna throw them in that container to rinse all at the same time. Okay, so as you can see, I do it all by hand. I used to have like little tools, like a switch or something, just cheap ones that I bought off of Amazon that I used to use with the brushes, but I stopped doing that. I found it was more tedious to do it that way than just to use my hands. I feel like just using my hands was just such a faster method. So now that these sponges have had time to kind of soak in here, I do want to kind of do the same thing that I did with the little eye brushes, which is mush them around in my hands and get them clean. Same thing, I kind of rinse all at the same time because I like to run the water kind of all at once as opposed to maybe intermittently. For whatever reason in my mind, I feel like that helps to save, but it doesn't. I just try and do what I can to kind of minimize some of the water consumption. There's nothing better that I have found than using kind of running water to get a lot of this product just out of these sponges and these brushes. So that is how I've been doing it. Okay, now I'm going to take all the sponges, run the water, and rinse them. Put them out here on the towel, and then I usually unfold the towel and then lay it on top of each other. And I usually do it downstairs in my kitchen on my sink, so I have a lot more space, so I'm just gonna put another towel on top of it, and I kind of just leave it there and let it dry. So that's what we're going to do next. waiting to do your brushes, like I'm doing it, is, wow, it's taking a long time. So I've taken out some of these brushes, the face brushes. These are usually the hardest, or like take the longest for me, just depending upon like how dirty they are. And I feel like there's just so many. They're not all gonna fit on this countertop with these sponges and these little brushes. So I'm actually going to take the little brushes and the sponges and move them into my filming room and have them dry there on a different towel. So I'm gonna move those, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna do these. I kind of do these the same way. I will fill the sink again. I kind of let them soak. I wash them all by hand and then rinse all at the same time. So let me move these. I'll be right back. So I usually take the towel, as you guys see, and like run the brush over it like this so that I can get it dry before I put it out here, or at least like make sure there's no soap left on it. They're never gonna get perfect. Some of these I've washed a dozen times before and some of them are stained, so perfection is not in the cards. Just making sure that they're clean and I'm not, you know, contaminating a ton of different blush try-ons with the fact that I've got like 6 blushes on that same brush, which doesn't really help when you're trying to test formulation and tell you guys like what I feel about it. Like I could use this same brush here, you know, 5 different times for 5 different formulas, and that's not really fair when I'm trying to form an opinion. So as long as there's clean, I get as much soap out of it as I can, I feel good about it. So I put all my pile over here. I want to move it into the room again. And then this is the last set of brushes. It's the smaller stack, so I feel good that I can get it done pretty quickly. I'll set up the sink the same way again, and we'll finish these off. Okay, so they're all finished. I'm so excited because my back was starting to really hurt. I'm going to move the camera. I'm going to show you guys where I set these up and how I leave them for a couple of days. So we'll do that next. So here's everything set up. I try and just put these all out so that they can dry on their own. Try not to lay them on top of each other. I told you guys, it's not perfection. It's just getting them clean, getting the soap out of them, making sure that there's no real product on it, even if some of them are a little bit stained. And then I just take this and I kind of throw it over here so no dust collects on top of it. And I kind of pat everything down like so. And that's it. I usually keep this on my kitchen counter, but I'm gonna keep it up here on top of one of my tables in my filming room. That is it today, you guys. You get to see a towel at the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed the makeup brush washing. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you guys are new to my channel, I would love for you to subscribe. I am out of here, and I hope to catch you all in my next video. Bye, guys.